All right. You know that music? It's the watchdog time. Not at the normal time. Doing them a little bit early. Had to move some stuff around, but really glad to have them back on. Because, you know what? In Illinois, they could come on and they could do a whole 2 hours with me, I think, every night because, there's just that much things that they report on. And we did not get to some of the stuff that we wanted to get to last week, and specifically the Dalton stuff. But, John, before you start talking, that's John Kraft, co-founder, Edgar County Watchdog. Before you start talking about Dalton and what's going on with some of those folks, how about this car detailing business in the fire district building? This is a great story. I like it because, guess what? You know who's watching? You know who's watching? Everybody else is watching what you put up, and apparently they're paying attention because they don't want to be found to be a target of your work. And so, give us more information about the Sherman detailing business inside a fire district building.
Yeah, Jeannie, thanks for having us again. I was looking for a place to get my vehicle detailed, and I found it in the Sherman Fire Protection District. Not really. Somebody gave us a tip that this guy is charging $200 for detailing of vehicles, and the photos on his Facebook page show nice shiny vehicles with a wet floor in the bay right next to a fire truck. And he's advertising it at $200 a piece. So we know he's done at least two of them because there were two photos on his Facebook page. And since I sent a FOIA request to the fire district to want to know who authorized it, those photos have come off of his Facebook page.
So you got a tip from somebody, which is terrific. Do you know if the tipster went and followed up to find out anything more, or are you going to FOIA, or I mean, is any action going to be taken, or is this just another one of those cases where a public employee is going to get off scot-free for having essentially used taxpayer resources for his own personal use?
Yeah, I think it's highly unlikely they'll charge him, but I think they realize now they shouldn't be doing it, which is why he took it off the Facebook page. But they haven't answered the FOIA request. It's due tomorrow.
Where's the fire chief? Where's the fire chief?
Good question.
Where's the elected officials that oversee this fire department?
Good question. And they may have been appointed by the county board. These are small fire departments. There's not like in the suburbs that you guys have full-time firemen. This is part-time fire departments that only get paid a minimal amount when they show up when there's fire.
Okay, and I appreciate that they do that. I mean, one of my favorite fire departments is the volunteer fire department at Glen Ellen. Okay, I do actually, my father was a volunteer fireman as well. I mean, so I appreciate that work. I appreciate that they're volunteers, but it is literally government 101 that you can't operate a private business out of a public facility. That's not hard to know.
And this isn't the first time we've caught fire districts doing things like this. We've caught them with storing their boats and RVs in the firehouse. Same with township road districts.
Yes.
Storing their personal vehicles in there in the winter. Why would they be able to do it? I can't.
All right, let's move on to Dalton. So, according to the Sun-Times article, prosecutors said William Frederick Reed fraudulently applied for 3 federal Paycheck Protection Program loans by falsifying the monthly payroll of his private off-duty security business. He's a Dalton police officer accused of fraudulently receiving thousands of dollars in federal PPP loans. He's from Hazel Crest. He was charged Monday for providing false statements to the SBA, bankruptcy fraud, concealment of destruction of bankruptcy records. I don't know. What do you think? Will he go to jail? And, I mean, this is just another, another problem guy from Dalton.
Here, and this is one of 3 we need to talk about in Dalton. And my thing is, I have to have confidence in the federal authorities and what they're doing to snatch a hold of Tiffany Henyard and people that assisted her. My guess, like the other two, my guess, they only found out about this while researching people that were assisting Henyard, and then they charge them so they can come back and say, hey, if you talk, then, we might be lenient on you. And that's my guess.
That's pretty astute. I think you may be right. So like these guys probably would have flown under the radar if they weren't so tightly connected to Tiffany Henyard. And then, they're trying to put the squeeze on her, so they put the squeeze on them first.
Yeah, and he was a police officer, just like the assistant police chief, Lacey.
Okay, talk about that one.
Charged last fall. He was charged for bankruptcy fraud, and then he was terminated as the assistant police chief. He misrepresented his income and his bank accounts. He provided material false statements, and hid bank accounts that were still in his and his wife's name in an attempt to get out of paying somebody.
Okay, a third person. You wrote on April 16th, a federal indictment was handed down today on Keith Freeman, Tiffany Henyard's administrator for Thornton Township and village administrator for the village of Dalton. His alleged fraudulent scheme on February 8th, you wrote about noted discrepancies in his scheduled filings and other financial paperwork related to bankruptcy.
Yeah, we sent all that information to the bankruptcy trustee, and within a week, they had subpoenas his record, and within another week, already charged him with the bankruptcy fraud.
Okay, wait. So you did the initial research and gave the initial documents to cause the feds to get involved in this particular case?
We did, and a bunch of residents did, all at the same time.
Good work. Way to go. That's amazing.
And they were actually fast about it.
They were excited about it?
They were fast about it. We wrote it. We sent them documents on February, and we wrote about it on February 8th and February 14th. There was a summons issued, and then shortly after that, he was charged.
And, of course, you're working with the feds, right? Go ahead. Sorry.
That is when everything changed in Dalton and Thornton Township, and after that was when all those subpoenas were issued to the village and the township. And now that she lost the elections, they issued more subpoenas. So I think they're still going after her, and I got to believe something's going to happen.
Yeah, this would be the federal government, the federal agents, the federal courts are going after Tiffany Henyard. You're not seeing anything at the local level, are you?
Nope.
There's no state charges for anything?
Not that we're aware of.
Mm-hmm. Not for all those open meeting violations?
No, of course
not for any of those nonprofit scams that she perpetrated on citizens.
Of course not.
Not for misuse of taxpayer money. No state charges on that.
No. Not for putting illegal police license plates on township vehicles either.
No actual investigation by the Attorney General, Kwame Raoul.
Not that we're aware of. Okay. He may be assisting. He may be assisting the feds on that one. I'm not sure.
Okay, assisting but not taking the lead on it, right?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. No response that I've heard of really from any of the state legislators in that area.
And none from the governor.
Zero from the governor. No comment about this. Basically a corruption, alleged corruption that's been going on for 3 years now.
Yeah, and she'll get what's coming to her.
But she'll get what's coming to her when she should have gotten what's coming to her a long time ago, and she should have been shut down by the right people, which are the people of her party, the Democrats, who control everything in this state. And it takes the feds to make it happen. And it takes the Edgar County Watchdogs from Central Illinois to actually precipitate the feds' involvement by sending them the initial tranche of documents. That's what we're facing right now. right?
Well, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, and we appreciate you. My point is that it should have never. It should have been investigated and handled by the correct authorities, and it should have been done swiftly, and it wasn't. They just don't care to do anything about corruption in the state.
But the state could have removed her from office for sending that $15,000 to her charity from the township. Yep. They could have got her out of office just on that. Mm-hmm. They could have got her out of office for incompatible offices by forcing all the equipment, finances, and personnel from the township and the village to work together for 3 years. Like it was all one pile of money.
Yeah. Just a disaster.
The state's attorney could have had her removed from office just for that. Mm-hmm. But no, they went ahead, and now they're millions and millions of dollars in the hole.
Yep. Thank you, Kim Foxx. Thank you, Kim Foxx, by the way. Uh-huh.
That's right. All
right. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back to talk about Kirk. He's got a couple other great stories for us. John, thank you so much for your work on this issue and for putting it all together in tonight's version of your story that you shared. We'll be right back. It's The Real Story.
You're listening to The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
Yeah. Welcome back. That's the Edgar County Watchdog movie music. And you just heard from John Kraft, and Kirk Allen's coming up. But guess what, guys? You can all listen to them live, ask them questions, meet them. They will be in the western suburbs. They're going to be at Pints and Politics, which is part of the Three-Headed Eagle Alliance. And they'll be at Eagle Brook Country Club in Geneva on Wednesday, May 7th from 6 to 8 p.m. So that's Eagle Brook Country Club in Geneva, Wednesday night, May 7th, 6 to 8 p.m. Come and listen to how they do their work, some of the cases that they have solved. Maybe you should really appreciate them. By last count, 678 public officials or employees have been removed from office through indictments, resignations, or terminations due to the work of the Edgar County Watchdogs. They are something to be celebrated in the state of Illinois. They go right along with the DOGE effort that we are doing at Breakthrough-Ideas. And you can read all our stories at our DOGEIL.com webpage as well. So, Kirk, thanks a lot for joining me. And I'm going to be there. I will be there Wednesday night. I've set it aside on my calendar because any chance I can meet you in person, I do that as well.
Thanks for having us, Deanie. I appreciate it.
Yes. So the Nassau, Illinois board meeting descends into chaos, resignations, applause, and an arrest. Now, this is a very tiny town near Rend Lake in southern Illinois. And you wrote about it earlier. You noted how they were completely doing things improperly. And then all hell broke loose. So could you give us the backstory on this? Because I just find it one of those things where you just can't make it up, these stories.
Yeah, Nason, Illinois is where the tyrant mayor, she actually got elected as mayor with 3 votes the last cycle, not this most recent one. I guess her fiance and, I don't know, her kid or somebody voted for her. So, but anyway, she was the one that was indicted for possession of the stolen vehicle that apparently was stolen from her father's estate. But they had their last meeting last week. So based on working with the folks down there, she's out of office now. She got smoked in the election, and then there were 2 more resignations. So we're actually at 681 now, thanks to the
681. Okay.
The metropolis of Nason. I think they're just under 200 people, but the meeting was pretty chaotic. Everybody was just glad it was the mayor's last meeting, and a lot of back and forth. And when people clapped, she tried to shut them up. And an alderman got into it with an incoming alderman at the end of the meeting. Apparently, he didn't turn his recording device off fast enough for the alderman, and he tried to give him beef over, recording after the meeting, even though they were still in the public building. And an altercation pursued, and the sheriff's office got called, and they cuffed and stuffed the alderman. So I don't know. I guess they just like the stainless steel handcuffs down there, the bracelets. So anyway, it was a pretty comical from the folks that were down there. We're trying to get video of it. So as soon as we get that, we'll run a story on that. But yeah, Nation, Illinois, they've got a new mayor now. Their next meeting, the new mayor will take office and some new folks. So hopefully they'll be able to clean up the mess that was created.
Well, that's great. And I also want to applaud the Southern Illinois Watchdogs, which learned their trade from you, but has been just doing the hard work that you guys have been doing around the state. They're just basically concentrating in their own area, being a watchdog where they can be. And that's something that we need everybody to do, as a matter of fact. And we're receiving tips at our DOGE.com website page on things that people have said, this is going on and that's going on. And we're trying to follow up on those tips. People do want government to work correctly, and they know when it's not, and they're willing to blow the whistle. And if we give an opportunity, they'll clean things up.
Absolutely. There's a lot of people that are willing to, step up and share information. They just got to get it to people that are willing to publicize it and start making, examples out of them. There's no way we can do it, everywhere. We've got to have watchdogs at the local level all across the state. It takes people to step up.
That's right. And I just got a new insider, so I'm kind of excited to drill into some information that hopefully he's going to provide to the Department of Corrections, which Kirk and I, just for the listening audience, we've been working on a few things to get some information from DOC. And are we at the point now where you have to go to a lawyer to get your FOIAs answered?
Well, they've delayed me on one of them. The other one, we've got the Attorney General confirmed a request for review. They said that my request for change orders was too vague, which is really ironic. And one other one that we did receive, I forwarded that to you, but we haven't written about it yet. I wonder why we're buying notepads, electronic notepads with internet service for all the inmates at the prison. It's thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yes.
But yeah, they've got notepads. They can play games on them, and they can send emails and do all this other stuff. And it's just really ironic. I guess jail is not what it used to be. But anyway, the AG has sent off letters to them that they've got to answer for why they haven't appropriately responded to my FOIA, and we'll see where that goes. I like to get an answer out of them before we turn it over to the attorneys, because that kind of gives a leg up, as to what to expect when you do get to court. And it's a shame, because once we go to court, they're going to farm it out to an attorney instead of the attorney general representing them like it's supposed to. They end up spending money on a private counsel. And I think the state police, I don't recall off the top of my head, but I want to say it was, if not 100,000, it was over 100,000 that they have spent over the last 5 or 10 years just on fighting FOIA.
I think you said it was like 250,000 when we talked about it before.
Yeah,
that's kind of the number I remember.
I recall it was over 200, but it's just sad that they can't just simply answer the FOIA request.
I agree with you. All right. Well, that's your Edgar County Watchdogs segment for tonight. John and Kirk, thanks a lot for joining me on The Real Story.